blood pressure, the levels of molecules in your blood, your body temperature, those types of things. Anything going on in your body, if we want the body to perform properly, if we want it to function normally, we need to maintain homeostasis. Now, I'm not sure if you heard, but I do a lot of drawing in class. I don't usually just put a PowerPoint figure and talk. I draw. And what I would encourage you guys to do is to draw along with me. Be active in your learning. That's going to help you learn as you're sitting there in class, keep it awake too. All right? This is where we're having a little bit of problems. This is a program that I use where I do draw. I'm going to try to work around it and use Word. I'm not sure how this is going to work. Hopefully it works just fine. I'll have it all resolved by Monday of next week. So, we're going to draw homeostasis here. And this is a picture that we're going to draw, I'm not kidding, over 100 times over the next 2 semesters. At least 100 times. Because it's what physiology is. Homeostasis. So we're going to draw a graph. So we're going to have a y-axis and an x-axis. On the x-axis is time. How much time? It doesn't matter. We could be measuring this in milliseconds, we could be measuring this in seconds, minutes, hours, days, doesn't matter. It's some unit of time. And then we have some variable on the y-axis. It's stuff in the body. So it could be pressure. What kind of pressure? Blood pressure, for example. Is that coming out? I guess it looks okay. All right? It could be, or the concentration of some molecule in your blood, for example, like sodium, like potassium. Okay? It could be body temperature. Okay, so I've given you a few examples of what that is on the y-axis. And so we have these variables within the body. And we have a normal value for these things. And so that's what this is going to represent. So that is the level of those things. All right? We'll just imagine that we had a whole bunch of points and we kind of connected the dots over time. We call that the set point. So we'll label that set point. Or the homeostatic level, the normal level. The set point's the normal level, so we can put that there as well. What we're doing now, guys, is we're just drawing what's in your notes. We're taking words on the pages in your notes, and we're giving we're drawing a figure. We're mostly visual learners. And so if we can take the words, make a picture out of it, it helps us learn it better. It helps us, I don't want to say memorize, I hate that word, but it'll help you retain the information much, much better. All right? Now, let's say it's blood pressure, or let's say it's body temperature. If you measured your body temperature, your blood pressure throughout the day, it's not going to always be exactly the same. It's not always going to be that set point. Let's do body temperature. Body temperature is what? Fahrenheit. 98.6, right? That would be the set point. But if you measured your body temperatures throughout the day, even during this class, it might be 98.7, it might go to 99, it might go to 97.9. That's also considered normal because it's within a normal range. And so how do we depict that? There's our normal range. We can fluctuate around the normal level and still maintain homeostasis. And again, that's what this is. This is physiology. That's why we're going to draw this so many times. I'm drawing physiology right now. And what's physiology? That's the body working normally. That's what physiology is. And so we call this the normal range. So if you take blood from a patient, you send it to a lab, and the lab brings back a whole bunch of values. It'll indicate what the normal range is for the values, and if the values are outside the normal range, it'll indicate it's outside the normal range. If it doesn't, it says normal. It doesn't flag it. Okay? So we have this in place in the body so that everything functions properly. If we're up here, or if we're down here, we'll just keep it simple. That's bad. For any extended period of time. Now, can there be these fluctuations for transient periods of time and everything still be okay? Yes, that is if we get things back to where they're supposed to be. And if we are up here, for example, we need to do this. The body needs to do that. And there are mechanisms in place that allow that to happen. The same thing holds true here. If we get down here, we need to come back. We need to get within that normal range. That actually has a special name. So if something is too high, above the normal level in the body, and we lower it back to the normal level, if something is below the normal level and we raise it back up within the normal level, within the normal range, it's negative feedback. Negative feedback is part of the homeostatic mechanism. There's nothing negative, there's nothing bad about negative feedback. Negative feedback is actually a very good thing. Because if it didn't happen, we would stay outside of the normal range, and that's what disease is. So many of you will take pathophysiology. Pathophysiology is when things go wrong in the body. Physiology is when things are okay. Okay, those of you that are going to go into the medical field, and it's about at least 75% of you in this room, people come to you not because homeostasis is being maintained in their body. People come to you to be fixed, to be diagnosed, because things have gone wrong, because we're here, or we're here. And then you guys have to figure out how to fix them. Or you guys have to figure out a way to help their body fix itself. Okay? Now, how does this happen? How do we maintain homeostasis in the body? There is a mechanism in place that's constantly occurring, by the way. This doesn't stop. You are always trying to maintain homeostasis, and most of the time we do. Okay, it's amazing how many things that can go wrong in your body that don't. I say probably the vast majority of people in this room are completely healthy because you're doing that. But it's mind-boggling knowing how many things can go wrong in the body, but simply do not. Because your body is this beautiful thing. It's this beautiful machine that is very efficient and that typically works properly, if you take care of it, of course. So, what maintains homeostasis? The homeostatic mechanism. And there are three things that are involved. We have a regulator, we have effectors, and we have receptors. And so once again, we'll draw a picture, we'll give ourselves a visual of this. And we'll do that here. Okay? And we'll draw shapes. Again, you're going to give yourself as many visuals as you possibly can when you learn, because it'll help you learn and retain the information a bit better. At the top is the regulator. The regulator is what sets the normal value. So we'll take body temperature, for example. 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, about 37 degrees Celsius, is your normal body temperature. That's the set point. Because you literally have a thermostat in your brain that dictates that's what it's going to be. It's called the hypothalamus. You'll learn about it more as the semester goes on in a few weeks when we get to the nervous system. That's your thermostat, just like in your house. If you want it to be 70 degrees in your house, you go to the thermostat and you press 70 degrees. That's the regulator. The thermostat in your house is the regulator. That's the brains. How does the thermostat know that your house is 70 degrees? So it's going to start to fluctuate it to that level. In the body, we call them receptors. So receptors in your body are going to talk to the regulator. So let's give the regulator a shape. I don't know, let's go rectangle. Receptors, I don't know, oval. The receptors, we're going to take the arrow and we're going to move it toward the regulator because that's how the communication goes. Receptors communicate with the regulator. The regulator has to know what's going on in the body. So the receptors are gathering stimuli. Some stimulus, stimuli is plural for stimulus. So what would be a stimulus in your body? Pressure, temperature, concentration of molecules. Those are the stimuli to the receptors. And specific receptors detect specific stimuli. There are receptors that detect pressure, concentrations, temperature, all kinds of stuff. Things that we'll learn about in much more detail later. All right, that's the other thing too. This chapter, especially in the next couple, we're just setting the table for things to come. My exams aren't comprehensive, right? I don't do comprehensive exams. I made that clear the first day. They're not cumulative. Every single exam you take, all four of mine, brand new material. Except it's going to build. It's going to build. It's going to build. So you can't forget what we're talking about right now. You can't forget anything in this class. You're not allowed to forget anything. I won't let you. Okay? I will help you not do that. But things that we talk about, I swear to you, this lecture today, we'll talk about the very next lecture next semester. We'll talk about this stuff continuously. That'll help you obviously learn the material. But even though my exams are not comprehensive, you can't forget anything. Okay? Anyway, So the receptors are gathering stimulus. It's telling the regulator what's going on. So let's say that the receptor detects that body temperature is up here. Now the regulator knows because there's communication. And so what the regulator is going to do is communicate with something to bring it back to where it's supposed to be. And what is it communicating with? It's communicating with effectors. And so that arrow needs to go in. That arrow needs to go in this direction, because that's what the line of communication is. And we'll talk about how this happens, by the way, at a later time. But then we have effectors. Well, let's give it a try. And then the effectors are going to do what they're told to bring us back into the normal range. So there is, as I put it, and I think it's in the notes as well, an appropriate output. And I'm going to give you a specific example in just a second. So there's your homeostatic mechanism. And if these three things are not working beautifully together, you're not going to maintain homeostasis. And bad things are going to start to happen. All right? So I'm going to give you a very simple example, two of them. Body temperature. How we maintain body temperature. And it actually takes the body quite a bit of energy to maintain a normal body temperature. And I'm just going to give just a very simple example of each. So we're going to have our little homeostatic line. So now it's going to be the second time we draw it. So we're up to 2. We got about another 98 or 99 more times to go. So we don't have to worry about the graph itself, but we'll just do the line. That's body temperature. And you guys told me that the set point's 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. We can fluctuate around that range and everything still be maintained normal. But, well, today it's pretty stinking hot outside, about 90 degrees. Let's just say we're there. Or maybe we're exercising. And as we exercise, we increase the metabolic rate of our muscles, and we start to generate more heat in our body, and the body temperature starts to rise. Well, if your body temperature is allowed to rise and continue to rise, bad things are going to happen. And we'll talk about what these bad things are later. What do you do when you're hot? You sweat. That's homeostasis right there. Sweating actually helps cool your body. Now, is it the only thing that's occurring? No, there's a whole mess of stuff that's occurring. But sweating is the more obvious thing that's occurring here. So what I'll put here is, you sweat more, because everybody in this room right now, you're always sweating. Why? Because you're always producing heat. You're always trying to maintain your body temperature. So we sweat more. So given this scenario here, the regulator, I don't care if you know this is the hypothalamus right now or not. I'm not going to ask you that. You'll be asked later on in the semester, but right now we're just still going to call it the regulator. So the regulator is in place. I have no idea what that is. So regulator. Let's just go with it. Okay? No, I'm not digging that at all. This is not going to work out very well tonight.
Just click again.
Oh, look at that. All right. Did I just hit some stupid thing that I don't even know about? You just do that. Good fonts. Okay. Again, there's usually a program that's set up, somehow it got deleted from the computer. I'll have it all fixed by Friday, or Monday. What was I doing? Damn it. Is that what this thing is right here?
No, it's highlighted.
It's highlighted?
It's next to the red A.
Oh, this thing. Ah, yeah, good for you.
It's still.
Is it going to do it still?
Yeah.
Unselect what? That right there? Twice? Once? Is it gone? One more time?
No.
Is it gone? I guess they give those PhDs just about anybody nowadays, don't they? Yeah. Top right, over here.
I think it's just because he has it like highlighted.
Yes. There you go. Who said that? I bet you got it. I bet you that's it, because that looked like it was kind of weird looking. If you're wrong, I'm going to be pissed. I'm just wasting my time. I think you're right, though. Come on, here we go. Yes. What's that?